And this game takes place in a world that is slowly flooding, and players are trying to work as quickly as possible to generate resources, get those resources back to their ark, and then build up their ark, and then fill that ark with 2 of every animal. And the player who's able to do that first wins the game. Or if no player is able to do that, then the whole world goes into extinction and we all lose. Now at the start of the game, each player is going to get their own ark board and a mammoth board, and then players are going to be piecing together the different tiles of the main map, putting together a board which is going to be a little bit different from game to game, with different terrain ending up in different locations depending on how it got put together. Each of the locations on the main board is going to have 4 resource tiles, where one of them is going to be an event tile that could potentially cause more flooding. These are going to be separated so that there's 1 event token at each location on the board, but these are going to be put face down so that no player knows which token is the event token. Players will then each take turns deciding where they want to put their ark build site out on the board, and then the game's going to begin. And the game plays over a series of rounds where players can decide if they want to take a resource action or if they want to take a build action. Players are going to be using huts and camps in order to generate resources, but then they're going to be putting out cargo trails and building caravans and using mammoths in order to bring those resources back to their ark. And if players want to use the build action, this is going to allow them to spend the resources that they have to expand their fleet of mammoths, build new huts and camps, or expand their cargo trails in order to cover more of the board. This will all help them build a little bit of an engine so that they're generating more and more resources so that they can build more and eventually start building their ark and loading it with animals, because you can always choose to build your ark instead of any of the other options. But the ark doesn't actually give you any benefit, it just helps you get closer to winning the game. So it's not something you'll want to do too early because you'll want to start generating your engine. But if the player chooses to instead take the resource action on their turn, then they're going to be rolling some dice, and any of their camps or huts that are on locations that match the icons of the dice are going to generate those resources. But then there's also a chance of rolling a story icon, which can also increase the flood. When taking the resource action, you can also move 1 mammoth, which will allow you to move some resources around on the board. But regardless of which action you choose to take, you can always barter with the other players or with the main player board as well, and trade some of your resources in for other resources or items. And the first player who is able to build their ark before the entire world floods wins the game.